is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour, where we come to you at the appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And we've had the Fed come out with their minutes. We were up about 35 points before the announcement. We're up 31 now on the S&P cash. I don't think there's a whole lot to divine out of that. The big things I think going on out here, of course, were the Fed minutes, and people have to dig through those for a little while. I did bring up in the 2 o'clock update that the Consumer Electronics Show starts tomorrow. Maybe there'll be some new interesting products, maybe not. But certainly if you're looking around the electronics and semiconductor space, you might want to take a look at that tomorrow, or at least the headlines from the Consumer Electronics Show. TLT had another gap higher today. I'm not exactly sure what everybody's thinking. Maybe everybody's short and we're getting a squeeze. I think they're on the wrong side if they think interest rates are going lower. But, lightning isn't a straight line, and trees aren't round, bark's not smooth. So, a little more of that. Other things going on. We had a question yesterday, and unfortunately I was playing around and was getting ready to send something back, and it disappeared. But one of the questions was, what are these colored rectangle sections in the charts that I use, the Art of Timing the Trade charts, and what are the different colors? Well, these are gaps. That's where nothing has traded before. If a gap gets filled, then it no longer shows on this. If you've got gaps that are both up and down, like on the TLT, it gapped down on the 27th of December, making that one shade. We add yet another one for a gap up, and the kind of colors kind of lap on each other. But a good indication of where there is kind of a higher and lower. In this case, 101 hasn't been touched for a little while. You also have a gap down at 96. I think eventually that's where the TLT is headed. But I think a lot of people, like I said, I was watching some TV this morning on both CNBC and Bloomberg on a variety of things. I thought that they had a tremendous problem of making any logical conclusions. They were more interested in the horse races, or horse race nature of certain things, and less about the long-term implications. But what can you say? GLD, I thought maybe had made a short-term high this morning as we got into this gap, and it kind of touched it. It's backed out, at least on the GLD. This is the gap lower from, June 13th. That came down with 13.2 million shares. You got about 8 million shares. Long term, if you want to trade gold, I'm not a big fan of what I think is a seventh wave in the wave technology that people talk about that you can only figure out once it's happened. So I don't spend a lot of time on it, but there is a characteristic called the seventh wave where it kind of just meanders higher for years. And if you're a trader, the only thing you can do is get long, sit on your hands, know that 3 out of 4 days you're going to wish you had sold. On the 4th day, it's going to pop up and make a new high, and then you got 3 more days for it to meander around. And generally, the last big move in any kind of very long, multi-decade move in a market is that kind of the idea of that seventh wave. And so Are you going to have a lot of times where you can buy and sell it? If you're very good, maybe you can beat the market, at least the gold market in GLD. It's just tough in a seventh wave, if you go back and look at them. Now, maybe I'm wrong on the seventh wave issue, but my guess is that you want to get long, sit on your hands, and go forward. 877-927-6648. Email's broken today at TFNN. You can reach me at Super Dave, that's one word, at Super Dave White, WHITE, at Outlook.com. That's Super Dave, DAVE, White, at Outlook.com. If you want to send me any emails of stuff to look at today. Okay. 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 And see, I got a couple emails. We'll go back here and look at some other stuff. Okay. First thing someone wants to look at is CMG. 867-5309, Jimmy. Just remember that number. 867-5309. Okay, CMG, we talked about this a few days ago. Just hanging out here. The downside is it's got a little bit more volume than it had last time, testing this gap, but far shy of the 1.4 million shares when it gapped up on July 27th of last year. Tested it with 200,000 shares, 236,000 shares. Got probably a 70% retracement or so. You then got one more retrace low. Energy's a little bit lighter. You're down to about a 1.1 on the power law vector indicator number, and you're down here to the lows. So am I horribly bearish on this? No. In fact, I wouldn't be short with your money. Can you be incredibly bullish on this? Generally, you don't get a second chance to buy one. So this is either going to take off like a scalded rabbit or fail here in the next couple of days. But certainly I wouldn't probably bet on being short. Does look like a good pattern out here where it's basing out at about 1375. 877-927-6648. Let's see. Okay, we got a few more things. Okay, question about Microsoft. I looked earlier, I didn't see any news. I'm sure there was some. I saw that they were buying something. But again, I didn't see anything that I thought right off the top of my head. I was more interested in other things. Okay. Okay, so someone's saying that they've downgraded them. Run, Forrest, run. And generally when people tell me that they're downgrading something, I think it's just that they want to buy it. We'll be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstad's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstad breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And we're back, still kind of hovering around. I didn't see much movement during the break. We're back up to 35, which is where we started, so I don't see much going on here. Options are at least bullish through Friday. They're pointing to probably close above 3,900. So we've got, what is Wednesday? We've got a couple of days to get up there. Everybody's pretty miserably short the market as far as I can tell, looking at the daily numbers from FINRA. For the high percentages. As we said yesterday, Tesla was getting some fairly high levels of short interest. Always a good sign when that happens to take your money and run if you've made a bunch of money off of it. And when everybody quits shorting again, then there's an opportunity yet again to try yet another opportunity to go after a short position. But don't stay too long to the party. You don't want to be that last person there. And let's see what else we had here. Okay, we looked at Microsoft. Question about Electronic Arts. They tended to have a much bigger position at the Consumer Electronics Show before, and they tend to try to get all their products available before Christmas so that they can get those sales. So I don't think there's much going on for the Consumer Electronics Show for Electronic Arts. They may be there, but I don't know if it's a big deal. They're up on lighter volume today. Also, a question to take a look at the Amazonian one, Mr. Amazonian itself. Fairly interesting at lunch. I ran up to the UPS store, which I was sure a gun battle would break out because there was a FedEx man in it. I figured it was, it was going to be one of those Mexican standoffs from the spaghetti westerns of the late 60s. But no gunfire, but a huge, huge line because people like me and others that got presents for Amazon could return them by just dropping them off, and a lot easier than finding a book. a box and getting everything and shipping it and everything else, just to drop it off there with a printed page that they can scan. But a pretty huge line in there. I'm wondering if people are taking the cash or getting exchanges. I looked from the people I looked at. I'm betting on the side of they want the Christmas cash instead. Okay, got a couple more things coming in here. We'll take a look at it. I know they play this in the den. I haven't seen many references to it lately. Sava does look like it's going to come back and try to get into this break higher, the gap higher from, that'd be August 17th. You're pretty close to that. Yeah, you'd probably want to look at somewhere between 23, 24 bucks down there. Volume is fairly light, so this does look good. You just like it to touch that gap. Generally, there's about an 80% chance. This being a biotech, of course, you can either have good or bad news that would blow it through either way. Am I feeling a little bit more nuclear these days? CCJ still needs to go through. See if I can find it here. Earnings. I think the first earnings cycle for this. They did buy the last of Westinghouse's nuclear secrets. But I think earnings coming up on the January 25th for it. So I probably want to get in front of earnings on anything that's been headed down for a while. The chart does look fairly good, though. It does look like you potentially had a low. I would have liked to seen it actually break the October 14th low that had 16 million shares, 2094. It got within 30 cents, 21.22 on December 20th, with just 7 million shares, so less than half. And generally, on highs, I'll go ahead and say if it misses by half the volume, it doesn't have to break it. I still favor probably 75% of the time thinking that you need to have the previous low broken and at least pierced. You may or may not get that. I think it's more of a market event, i.e. if the market goes higher, you're probably not going to get that retest. Don't think that there's a lot of reasons to think that it's going to be horrible. I think a lot of people on the side of waiting for earnings are just thinking, okay, how much are they going to write off right away? And then we can get back to regular earnings on this broadcast channel. So they're kind of looking at that, I think. So I'm not a big fan of getting in front of it, but I think maybe after earnings, if they take care of enough and are fairly transparent, write off the right stuff on Westinghouse, it may be ready for the next run, especially if China gets back in the groove of expanding. 877-927-6648. Yeah, that number works. Okay. Take a look at URA. Question about do I look at URA as a proxy for CCJ? Not really, mostly because CCJ is Canadian. It doesn't have the same problem with limiting exports, especially uranium and other things to other countries, where the USA has a lot bigger restrictions for shipping uranium here, there, and yonder. So no, it's a little bit different. Depending on which country you're in, it really depends on what they say about what you can and can't expire or export. And Canada, for all the horrible things going on in that country right now, from the Prime Minister that is downright scary and totalitarianism. The one thing they don't do is cut off the big exports out of the country. So you've got to kind of look at that as being one of the things that's sacrosanct at the moment for those wild Canadians. So yeah, I think the big problem with the URA is there's just too many people in too many different countries, and it's more about the government. I like CCJ just because it's more of a pure play as to supply and demand. So, got a break coming. Bottom of the hour, we'll be back. We'll do a little history and we'll move on.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Hey, we come back. Oh, I forgot to do a little history, so let's do that.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1972, Hewlett-Packard introduces the first handheld scientific calculator, the HP 35, at what is now the Consumer Electronics Show. The precision of the calculator was greater than most mainframe computers of the time. For such a technological achievement, the name of the calculator is simply derived from the fact that it had 35 buttons. Sold for $395. They projected 10,000 units to break even, and they were hoping that at least in the first year they would sell 10,000 units. They sold 100,000 units that first year. In the 2.25 years that they actually sold that particular design, they ended up selling 300,000 of them, and really kind of the first foray into the consumer electronic part of the business. They did make one compromise to make it cheaper. And most people that have been around computers or ever played with these calculators at one time learned the phrase reverse Polish notation. And there was a quite brilliant guy, and he had a name that started with an L, but you pronounced it with a W, and literally nobody outside of Poland could pronounce it. So they named it reverse Polish notation or forward Polish notation, and it kind of meant that the way you were taught to add 35 plus 5 wasn't quite the way that you had actually worked with exponents. Yeah, you kind of put the cart in front of the horse, so to speak, but anybody in engineering will always remember their first time that they got to play with an HP 35, figured out that you had to do it. And the one thing I learned is that I had one and no one would steal it in the 1980s because guess what? They'd done away with the reverse Polish notation and no one wanted to use it. So it was the greatest calculator in the world. One, it was 10 years old already and cheap. And secondly, no one liked to use the reverse Polish notation, which meant that if you loaned it to anybody, you always got it back. Okay, so now we're up 5 points on the S&P cash. I don't know what people are saying. Maybe something else came out there for that. Okay, let's go here. Okay, that's fine. That's good. That's still good. Okay, back here. Okay, as we said, Consumer Electronics Show going on right now. NVIDIA launched another new video card yesterday or the day before called the 4070. Unfortunately, this was originally to come out as a 4080. Now it's called a 4070 Ti. Probably shouldn't be called a Ti. Probably should be a 470. And they're getting both barrels of a lot of rock salt to their heinies, mostly because of the price and the performance of this. So, yeah. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, you're just going sideways. You came back to the gap. You came back, the volume was a little lighter. I don't know if there's a whole lot here. But certainly they're not winning the friends and the hearts and minds and the pacification of folks. But the weird thing is AMD really isn't any different. And, of course, both of these companies, if you want to talk about Nepo babies here in the United States, that was one of the big things last year. Nepo babies in Taiwan, since they're both related. The guy and I guess it's the sister, right? But certainly Nepo babies to the max are both going over it. A lot of discussion now on whether there's some price fixing going on. Okay. No rate cuts. Okay. I didn't think there would be. I think people look at it much better over the coming days. The Noog Man checks in. I'll try to email you after the show on that and see. And what else do we have here? Looked at Amazon. Oh, MU was a bouncer this morning. Didn't get a chance to really check in on that. Nice bounce. Maybe that was also some. That's pretty interesting. I didn't have a chance to really dig into it this morning. I did look at it. China is throwing the towel in on subsidizing competitors to Micron and memory. I think that's because the last edition of memory, the DDR5, DDR6, and some of the VRAM stuff, they just do not have the equipment to make it anymore, and as time moves on, Micron, most of the China places end up looking a lot more like Texas Instruments than the big names like AMD and NVIDIA here in the United States, and that they're, if that is actually true, that China is not going to chase the high-end memory where 90% of the money is made. You can make money, but it's kind of like being in the bread business. It's there every day, but not a lot of people are going to go to and get the kind of money Bill Gates has selling bread. But certainly a nice bounce with some decent volume, and that is some decent good. Some good news about it too. Okay, what else do we have? We'll go back here. We got a little bounce now, up 11 points. As I said, really looks like maybe we get up to 3,900, maybe a little over by Friday. So we'll see what happens the next couple of days. Okay, question about Apple. Got hit fairly hard. Kind of an inside day so far. Volume is, I'm going about 5/8 of yesterday's big candle down. This takes you back into some low levels that go back to May of 2021, which is kind of interim move on the way back up. 115 would be that gap, 114.86, the March 8th, 2021 low, with 154 million shares. You did gap up, but maybe 116, something like that. Don't know. Not a lot of juice down here either. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute. Got some more emails to go through.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And we're up about 0.4% on the S&P. Nasdaq's up about 0.3%. Dow's basically flat. Russell's up about 0.4. Crude down about 5%. Gold up about 0.5%. So let's get back to the IBB. You did have a high volume high. It wasn't able to hold it. You did have the volume, so eventually that suggests you're probably going to retest somewhere between 135-ish and 138-ish. What do we have here? 130, 110. So, not bad. You do have to kind of like the light energy off this high so far. I don't think the news flow is good for the big cap names in biotech for this year, but doesn't mean it can't bounce maybe to the end of January or something. Question about UNG. And it is a head scratcher, isn't it? But man, if you're talking about buying down at support, maybe another $1 or so, it's hard to think that you would have seen that even 2 months ago in natural gas, but that's the way it goes. See out here. Take a quick look at GDX. Pretty much like gold itself, you had a fairly large gap down that goes from the 13th of June. That had 33 million shares. You're into it today with 22 million. Probably going to end up with 25. So you're going to be a little light, but not, not half light. But yeah, my guess is you're going to probably meander around here. Probably have at least a short-term high in maybe today or tomorrow. And then you're probably going to have some consolidation of this move higher. And there's going to be a lot of 5 steps forward, 4 steps back in gold if it is that 7th wave. Okay. Yeah. Just when you think it, you've got it all figured out. Got a question, Planeteer. Is this ready to buy yet on the first of the year? I don't see anything that's a big signal so far. Okay. Digital Realty Trust. It just looks like it's in that range. I don't see a lot of movement either way. Salesforce is CRM. CRM's closing one of its or a lot of its levels, getting rid of 10%, got up to 141.85. Question from Ron is whether or not that is going to make a long-term difference. I don't think they can. I think the opportunity to become one of the big web folk, i.e. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Web Services, I mean, that ship, I think, has sailed. And if you didn't try to scale your system and make sure that you had the grocery store model in place, i.e. it didn't matter what they buy as long as they bought it from you and the margin, we'll worry about the rest later, is just problematic for Salesforce. The CEO was kind of a blowhard when things were going well and irritated many people in the realm of the stuff he sold to. But as they say, don't believe the newspaper articles against you, especially if they're in your hometown. Okay. Question about Meta. Well, I think they're finally getting out of some of the stuff that's going to be problematic this year. I've always said that the Zuckerberg is getting ready to check out. He's doing everything. He sold all his property in California. He's bought basically the most part of a big island, and like most robber barons, threw the people off their land, although he had to eventually pay up for them after doing it and getting caught. But he's going to be another one of these guys, I think, that kind of heads off into the West. He is starting to clean up the business from a lot of the other problems that he had. The laws most likely are going to change, and he's getting in front of those, especially for free speech. You're back up into this gap down. That gap down happened on 232 million shares. You're into it with 25 million shares today. I wouldn't be long. You got the doji today. If you get anything lower tomorrow, this would be one of the ones I would worry about. I don't know if it goes all the way back down to the lows, but probably 105 is support on it. Question about Workday, which we'll take a look at. Please keep them coming. Super Dave White at Outlook.com, since our email is broke. Okay. Yeah. Not much going on in this right now. Just kind of going sideways. We'll see when earnings are on that. Okay. Let's see. Where we go here? There we go. Okay, earnings February 27th. So you got some time. You got a higher high with higher volume, 184.50 on December 13th with 3 million shares. Previous high was 179.83 on August 15th with 2.6 million shares. So you did go to a higher high. Had some higher volume. On the longer term, that was going into a gap down. That gap down was on 6.4 million shares. So again, a lot of these stocks that have been bouncing, I don't know if you'd want to be bearish on them just yet. You're probably going to get one more move higher. That's why I'm thinking when I looked at these charts a lot during the last week that I was off, it just looked like they wanted to go up one more time, have very light volume, and then fail. And it looked like it would probably take into the last week of January or maybe even into February before these things turn south and run. Let's go ahead and update. We'll be back in a minute, up 10 points on the S&P cash.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years, with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we get back looking at ADM for Mike, and he had a big down day on the 14th of October. That was about 3 million shares. He gapped up, didn't ever have a sign of strength, have kind of made this high. There used to be a guy named Bob Carver, and he had a website. Can't remember what the name of it was. He used to talk about kind of the idea of a contact lens top. That's like this. You never really got a, you could kind of make it like 3 drives to a top here, or variety of things, or Head and Shoulders, or any number of things. But if you could just kind of set a contact lens on the top of it, he would call it, he had a special name for it. I'm trying to remember now. It kind of looks like it, that pattern, probably the closest definition. And that would mean that you're probably headed back down to the 84 level on that one. So I don't know if there's anything to say. On CCL, one of the big winners of the day, we've got to give them their due. Well, we'd give them their due. There we go. Carnival up about 9%. And the SS floating petri dish continues to try to act like it's got a sign of life. You got to think that if they're not strong this time of year, what time of year are they going to be strong? But I don't know. I think it's going to take a while for all this to work out via COVID. That being said, sell when you can, not when you have to. And we'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.